Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I wanted to go over the aspects that avoidants need to fall in love within the 3 stages that we're talking about. Now, there are more than 3 stages, but these are just the more prominent ones. And I wanted to simplify it so that you guys can understand what I'm talking about. So I don't want you to get too caught up in the semantics. I just want you to see where you are in the stage, whichever one these are, and then you can kind of implement these things if you want the love to be more obvious. It doesn't necessarily mean your partner is not in love. It just means they might not be aware of it because avoidants actually suppress their feelings. And so they might be in love without knowing it. So these aspects are, it's not really falling in love, even though that's probably how I'm going to title the video. It's more about that they're more aware of their feelings, which is good because that will help them to commit more. And so the first stage is around the time where you guys are first meeting. It will be around the 1 year mark. And you actually want to have some curiosity about yourself, which means you're not going to self-disclose everything, okay? You do still want to show up authentically. That means you're not hiding anything or lying, but you're not putting all your cards on the table because you just met. Even if it's been like maybe 8 months, you don't want to put every single card on the table because avoidants like to take their time to show all their cards, and you want it to be balanced. You don't want it to be that you're showing everything and they're showing only half of their cards because avoidants have a lot of trust issues. And so the reason why the balance is important is because it balances resentment on your side, and it also doesn't make them feel overwhelmed, because the second stage is where a lot of times people break up. And so in this first stage, the other aspect is you want to show up emotionally stable. And this is really important because the next stage is going to be a bit more emotional for both of you guys. And so you want to already establish you're an emotionally stable person so that when the other emotions start showing up, they already have that perspective of you. So the next stage is going to be when it's, I guess, outside the honeymoon stage, some people call it, but also the better way to put it, at least for this particular video, is it's when both of you guys have put more cards on the table. You guys are knowing each other more. Particularly the avoidant has opened up a little bit more about their life, their childhood, maybe their living situation, their expectations of you. So this is actually the stage where they have been attached to you. They actually do love you, but they don't always know it. And so this is a stage that gets where most people break up. You want to start revealing more about yourself, and they're also revealing more about themselves. That's kind of the center point of this stage. That's how you know you're in this stage. You show up with some vulnerability. They show up with some vulnerability. You want those things there. That's important. It's very important. However, you want to have clear expectations because you will have expectations. You can't be like how you were in the beginning. Nobody can be. It's not healthy. You want to have expectations. You want to have some clear expectations and some boundaries. That means that if you start noticing you guys are fighting a lot, you can say, I don't mind having conversations. I like to tell you what I'm expecting, but I want us to have a limit. Can we make sure that this conversation doesn't go longer than 30 minutes? It also shows that you respect them and yourself. If you say something like that, the example I just gave you, avoidants will be much more grateful because avoidants don't like fighting typically. Both female and male avoidants don't like fighting. More common with dismissive avoidants, but a lot of both, some fearful avoidants actually don't like fighting. It depends though. If they're more anxious leaning, they might lean into fighting more, but once that boundary is set, they do actually get more comfortable with that calm pace. And so it's really important. You want to show flexibility towards compromising on your side as well. We're still in that second stage, but it's really important that you show flexibility towards compromising. It's going to model. And a lot of patients I have, or a lot of couples I work with, they get upset. Why do I, as a non-avoidant, have to compromise first? And the truth of the matter is you don't, but the reality is it's going to take them a lot longer to compromise. And you want to speed this up. I get that that's frustrating. And yeah, likely you're going to have to be the one that compromises first. But the compromises that avoidants make, they are there. So technically it's not true, but you just don't see it. And what I mean by that is, people don't like me saying this, but it's true. Them compromising, it shows up as being affectionate, being there, not ghosting you because they've done that before. Still texting you, still calling you, still hearing what you have to say. That is compromise for them. And if you want to work on your specific dynamic with your relationship, you can book a call with me or email me. That is in the description box and it's also pinned in the comments. And then we can kind of work on it, how it shows up in your relationship. But yeah, you are going to compromise probably at more than you expected at first, but eventually they're going to meet you in the middle. That's why we're setting this up for the second stage, because the third stage is really important, but we need to get past the second stage. And the second stage is the hardest for both of you guys. But I'm going to talk about those who are not avoidant. You're going to feel really, you might feel resentful, or you might feel like it's not fair. The second stage feels like it's not fair. You're being vulnerable, you're showing up, and you're also compromising and being more flexible. And the last one is admit when you make mistakes and you want to work on them. You have to remember that whatever happens with this relationship, these skills that you're building is healthy for you. But you're in this relationship, so you might as well build them with this person and watch how much it makes a difference. A lot of times, this in of itself, that compromising, that admitting when you're wrong, is going to make them do those things in the third stage. Okay, so let's talk about the third stage. This is a stage where the avoidant realizes they love you. They loved you in the second stage, but they don't typically realize it until the third stage. That's why I broke it up into third stages. Relationships have more than 3 stages, but these are just in the aspect of love. In this third stage, we've already done the flexibility and compromising. You've already admitted you're going to work on stuff, and you're going to continue to do that in this stage. You're already vulnerable. However, we're adding more things. Now you're focusing more on your life. You're still remaining consistent and reachable. That's the second point. You focus on your life. The second point is you remain consistent and reachable. But why are these things important? You've told them what you need. They don't need to know anymore. You can tell them again, but what I'm saying is you don't need to focus on it. You've done your part. You've admitted what you need to. You've been flexible. So now the third stage is the time they show up. So you focus on your life. It allows them to not have as much pressure. The next one, like I'd mentioned, you remain consistent and reachable. You're not trying to be unavailable. That's not the point. That's unhealthy. You want a healthy relationship with them. So you remain consistent. You still say good morning. You still reply to their texts pretty much on time. You tell them when you're going on vacation, when your flight has landed. You tell them what's going on in your day. You mention you want a FaceTime call when you guys are out of town. You mention these things. You remain consistent and reachable. But you're also busy. You have things going on. You are talking to your friends. You are focusing on your career. You're finishing up schooling. You are doing your homework. You are preparing to hang out with your family, your parents. These are things that are important, especially in this stage. And it's less important in the second stage. Yes, it's important, but the reason why it's more important in third stage is the second stage is you showing up and being vulnerable so that they know what you need. Because you don't want to show up and focus on your life and be very unavailable or whatever it is. Obviously, you don't want to be like that in general, but especially not in the second stage because they need to know what you're expecting and they won't know if you show up like this in the second stage. You need to be vulnerable and reveal things about yourself while having clear expectations, being flexible and compromising, and admitting the mistakes that you make in the second stage. It sets up the third stage. It's how this third stage becomes successful. And the third stage is when they realize they love you. So we've said on the third stage, you focus on your life, you remain consistent and reachable. But the third point of this in the third stage is you communicate your needs clearly. You continue to do so. You continue to clarify those needs. You show appreciation. That's the fourth point. The fifth one is you focus on the positives more than the negative. This one is really important. You focus and you also verbally mention the positives more than the negatives. Because the second stage, you did talk about the negatives maybe more than you wanted to, but you had to because you need to set up the expectation for the relationship. But now we're focusing on the positive because they know the negative. And the beautiful part about this is because they felt the negatives a little bit in the second stage, they can appreciate how much effort you're putting in by communicating more positively. It shows them that you've grown, that you've changed, and it makes them subconsciously and sometimes consciously want to show up as well. And the last one is you give direction of what you want from them. I want you to get me flowers on Valentine's Day, and I want you to mail it to my house. Very clear directions. And so let's summarize, and then we'll wrap it up. The first stage is more about curiosity and getting to know each other, but you want to remain emotionally stable while doing so. You're authentic and you're emotionally stable. The second stage is when you both are revealing more about yourselves, about each other. You are vulnerable. You have expectations. You want certain things. Where is this relationship going? You're opening up. You're flexible towards compromising. Okay, I apologize. Maybe I was too much. You admit your mistakes. Okay, I can do that. I expect you to do this, and I'll do that. I'll work on that. The third stage is you focus on your life. You're remaining consistent and reachable. You're not unreachable, but you're just busy sometimes. You are busy. You communicate your needs clearly. I would like you to do A, B, and C. Remember that I expect this. I appreciate that you do this. You show appreciation. You focus on the positives rather than negatives, and you give direction of what you want. I want you to make a date next Monday. I'm available after 5 p.m. So anytime there, you can pick me up at my house. And so I hope this video was helpful. If you want to book a call with me and work on these things more specifically, you absolutely can. You can email me as well. I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.